podcast. Name's Calvin. I'm here with Jai,
Hello?
and I'm here with Lenny. Yeah, and today we'll be discussing about the abrupt, the unexpected, the unfortunate shutdown of Telltale Games and the causes of that and the reasons behind that. So, you guys obviously heard about the Telltale situation, have you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like as mentioned before, it's been unfortunate since it's been shut down, but do you guys have a proper idea as to reason why it got shut down? Like, what are your speculations?
Well, I mean, to be honest, let's not lie to us. Telltale, despite being one of my favorite game companies, in recent times have been producing some absolutely amazing games, but also producing and kind of more commonly really mediocre to slightly bad games.
Oh, okay. But what games are we specifically talking about when you say bad games?
Well, how do I say it? Nothing that's actually like unplayable, but just stuff that probably wasn't necessary,
Like name
doesn't
one title.
really
Like name.
get the core audience. Like, well, I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy for one thing, even though it wasn't a bad game at all,
Mhm.
it's just like, was it really a necessary thing? Like, there's so many other titles that people were waiting for and that, and they kept sort of pushing those back or, keeping them hidden, I'll say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
see.
I don't really blame them for that though, considering that it would have been Marvel that pushed them to make the Guardians of the Galaxy game, and they would
Mm.
have paid them quite a bit to
Sure.
make them.
Like even on like the like a few IPs like the Minecraft story mode, it was very unnecessary. Like why would you want to make a Minecraft story mode? The whole game is tailored to do whatever you want, and yet they delivered some unnecessary stuff like that, for example. But I also think the Batman series, I mean, it's not bad, but they're like a few of the mechanics in the Batman series, along with Michonne, were like really, starting to bore me out. Like it's even prevalent in
Mm.
season three in with The Walking Dead, where it's just quick, quick time events.
Yeah, quick time events. Yeah.
It just lost its interactivity. It just became a movie in general, just a normal movie.
Mm. Oh, I wouldn't even say that. I'd say that. How do I that? Well, it's not a movie. Rather that it's that you feel very linear, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
in a lot of sequences where you'll notice you kind of have a quote unquote choice, but you still don't really have one, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. Lenny, what are your thoughts?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, as I was saying before, it's kind of the way they work these days is with IPs, and they get paid a lot of money to make games based on like The Walking Dead and Batman, Marvel stuff.
Mhm.
So I think when they went down that road of we're gonna make all these different new IPs,
Yeah.
they sort of gave up all their control. So
Yeah.
I think that's probably sort of most of the things we can probably blame on that. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that probably does play a pretty big part of it. I can agree with you there.
Yeah, what about the Telltale super films that they were making with Netflix?
Those are still going on. Those are what's it called? From what I've heard, those are still happening.
Yep.
Which is funny because how do I say it? Like one series, like the Minecraft one for Netflix or whatever that they were talking about, wasn't even in production yet apparently, and they're gonna finish that.
Oh
Yet
wow.
they aren't finishing Walking Dead season 4.
Or like Wolf Among Us.
Yeah, no, they're not. No, that I don't even think they started that yet, or at least they didn't. How do I say it? They haven't gotten a decent way through.
It's really unfortunate though how like some good IPs, had to be shut down like The Walking Dead.
Mm.
But I feel like the
Yeah,
downfall of like Telltale kind of began after the success of The Walking Dead season 1 because
yeah.
if you think about it, after that they acquired Tales of the Borderlands, which wasn't a good it wasn't a bad game. It was a really good game.
I
Like
thought it was really good in
it
my opinion.
it was
Tales of the Borderlands was probably one of my more favorite Telltale series, below Sam and Max.
Yeah, and like I felt like season 2 wasn't best, but it was subpar. It was okay. But by I
Mm.
think Wolf Among Us was the last Telltale game that was not The Walking Dead that was pretty good. Like if you get what I mean. Like it was a
Mm.
last game that was good. And then you had Michonne, you had, Batman, you had what else was there? Just the new Walking Dead seasons in general, and then
Mm.
you had Marvel's, thing and Minecraft story mode.
Yeah. Well, this might sound kind of stupid, but like, I feel like Telltale's push towards such a massive freedom of choice, more like adventure book novel type games, kind of were the things that made it become less. How do I say it? Less.
Successful.
Yeah, less successful. That's what. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Because how do I say it? If you think back to like Telltale's original stuff, and I know I've said it like 2 or 3 times now, but Sam and Max in particular, where it was a point and click adventure game, but the whole goal wasn't to have multiple choices brought in front of you and all this other stuff. It was just to quite literally go through puzzles, do all that sort of stuff, and that was really fun.
Yeah, yeah. Even their rendition of Back to the Future, as well as the Monkey Island
Yeah.
series. Like I could see it in
Yes.
there.
No. Monkey Island wasn't Telltale. What are you talking about?
No, they
Monkey
did.
Island was,
That was LucasArts.
No, I think
Yeah,
they remade it,
LucasArts.
did they not?
No.
No.
Hold up.
Yeah, they remastered it or whatever.
Yeah, they
but
did. They did.
That wasn't Telltale.
No, they developed it. Tales
What?
of Monkey Island. I can send you a
No, I
link.
think they did.
No, they did. Hold up, I'll send you the link. But yeah, like games like that, they like them like back then, before the success of The Walking Dead, they kind of appealed to the niche market because the linear, like the puzzles, the decision making, how you craft your stories, and because of like their previous works and as well as like The Walking Dead, I believe that they had a significant influence towards the industry itself because they had this episodic thing. You didn't see that before. Well, you did, but it wasn't heavily used as it's now. Like you could see it in games like Hitman or Life is Strange and all that stuff. You get what I mean?
Yeah, but don't get me wrong. Don't like. How do I say that? I don't really like the episodic format that much. Like, especially where in some scenarios, developers will use that to their advantage to not like publish anything for ages, and fans are kind of kept in the dark sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Like, I didn't
Yeah, I
like
think
with Hitman with the episodic stuff. Oh, sorry, Lenny, you go.
I think that's also another big reason as to why they're not successful is the episodic format, and that if they released it as like a whole thing, then I think that they would have had a lot more success because people just don't want to, like, say every couple of months shell out some of their cash for something that they don't even know if they're not going to get a next episode with, like the new
Yeah.
Or a season
of
pass.
The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's just a. I get what you mean. It's
Yeah.
a really flawed system, especially with like sometimes when you're looking at the episodes, you're like, should I really be paying this much? Because if I think about it, I'm not getting as much content for a game that I would be paying a much larger price for. You know what I mean?
exactly.
But because you're doing it in episodic stuff, it seems like it's not as expensive.
Yeah. Do you guys usually wait for like the complete edition to come out in physical, or do you like
Yeah,
have to buy
I
it
usually
one by
prefer
one?
to do that.
Yeah, it depends what it is though, because with the Batman ones, I definitely got them episode by episode
Mhm.
because it takes some ages to finish off the whole season.
I know the first one I did episode that would have been Walking Dead, I reckon.
Oh yeah, I see. But for me, I feel like I kind of agree on Lenny. Like I can see your viewpoint. Like I feel like developers can abuse that when like they would heavily enforce heavily enforce the players to actually buy a season pass to tell them that it's convenient rather than paying it one by one.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it kind of like although they have changed the industry for the good and bad, it's kind of unfortunate that we no longer see these IPs. However, the last thing they'll be given out to fans of the Telltale company would be, wasn't it episode 2 of the final season and the Minecraft thing, was it?
Yeah, from memory.
Yeah, which is kind of unfortunate. Like we'll never see,
Mm.
the like what happens in Wolf Among Us 2 or and all that.
Yeah, that's what's it called. That really is like kill me because I was a pretty big fan of the Fables graphic novel series.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah, it was a really interesting story.
yeah. So what do you think will happen to the IPs itself? Do you think like, will it still be, bought? Will it still be, traditional point and click adventure or like being bought like that way or be made into something new?
Yeah, I don't. I think it'll probably be made into.
Gone. They're gonna either not going to make anything or they're going to turn into something else.
Yeah, because if
Most
you think
likely,
about it,
it's they're like with the new Walking Dead game, the Overkill one.
yeah, that
They'll
one.
probably do that like that. They won't. They'll probably just give it to different developers that have their own style and probably let them do whatever they want, like they did with Telltale.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the main thing for me is that even if people bought the IPs, I don't see a lot of companies making point adventure games anymore. So, I just don't see it being. I don't think it'll be the same as it was, especially now that if you look at what happened to Telltale, like all the people who were a part of it have been split up, like going to a lot of different companies now. Like I saw there was a bunch of like different companies wanting to
Yeah,
hire the
like
people from
yeah, like
Telltale.
I've seen some
Like I
from
think I saw EA, I saw Ubisoft, I think
There's-
like separate developer teams as well. Like I
there were
think
Naughty
someone from
Dog.
Dice.
Yeah, there was Naughty Dog as
Yeah,
well.
Naughty Dog.
I've seen that,
Mhm.
which is unfortunate. But yeah,
Yeah.
like it sucks. Well, moving on from the Telltale fiasco and its downfall, what do you like? As of recent, there was an Instagram post in I think based about Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, and a lot of people have been
Yeah.
giving a bit of mixed reception from it, saying, "Oh, he'll be good, he'll be bad."
Mhm.
I've seen the comments in the comment section, so a lot
Yeah.
of people saying it's shit. Don't expect it to be good. Don't expect it to be involving Batman as a backstory,
Mhm.
and so on and so forth. What are your thoughts about the teaser, the preview, and some leaked footage of the Joker, you know, Joker film?
Well, I think that
Mhm.
anyone that thinks that Batman's going to show up is misinformed completely because they said from the
Mhm.
start this is just going to be Joker. It's not going to have anything to do with anything Batman, and they're sort of gone for like a crime drama. And if it's anything like I don't know, say something like Pulp Fiction, but with the Joker, I think that could be really good. But more than likely, with Warner Brothers and DC and how they operate with their films and everything, it's probably going to turn out to be just a muddled mess of characters and plot lines that don't really work without Batman or other supporting characters. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll bide my time and watch it, but for now, I don't really know enough to really make a judgment call on it.
Mhm.
Mm,
Yeah, my hopes are definitely not high, to say the least, after a lot of the most recent stuff ups with DC movies. Not to say that I won't give it a chance or anything, just that,
oh
like,
yeah,
how do I say it? Like, I think it's mainly Warner Brothers, I think, are killing it for me. Because if you look at the comics, DC's actually been doing really, really well.
okay.
But movie wise and TV, none stuffing up. They've been dropping the ball big time.
Yeah, I've heard
Like,
like
I think
like a few actors like bailed out for some roles. Like for example, I think it
Henry
was
Cavill bailed from.
did
Ben
he
Affleck.
Yeah.
did he Henry
Well,
Cavill
there's
did he?
talks of it. They're still on contract, but yeah,
Oh
they're speaking of leaving.
man, they're
Well, I don't blame them. It's kind of ruining their reputation.
yeah,
You know,
it makes sense. I mean, the only good DC film that has come up as of recent is the Wonder Woman film, which I think it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
I still need to see that. I have what's it called to get it on DVD or anything. Need
Yeah,
to watch it.
you should definitely watch it. It's a 10 out of 10 in my list. But yeah,
Mm.
well, as I was reading the comment
on
section,
Netflix, yeah.
oh, sorry, you can continue.
Watch
Continue.
it. Yeah, it's on Netflix. Check it out.
Oh, well, then that's good then.
If DC wants to pay us for product placement, please.
Yeah, please,
Awesome.
please do. I mean, what's it called? I mean, we're so popular with our first episode already. We have such a big fan base.
Well, yeah, well, like as I was reading the comment section of the teaser and the preview and some leaked footage, I happened to see a lot of people commentating about Joaquin Phoenix's role, like as in like the company casting him to be the role as the Joker. What are your thoughts on that? Because I've been seeing like mixed as well, mixed responses on that, like saying, oh, he won't be good, and many people saying, oh, he might be the Heath Ledger. Like people didn't like Heath Ledger, and then he turned out to be good.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on like Joaquin Phoenix's as the Joker?
I mean, from what I've seen of him before, like he's a pretty good actor. Like from what I've actually seen him in, I haven't seen a lot of what he's done before, but I definitely think that he'd probably be able to pull off the part. The only thing that concerns me is that, well, and I know it's going to sound stupid, but I hope that they don't try to rip off Heath Ledger's Joker too much.
Oh yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they are or anything, but the design and some other stuff I've seen of the costume makes me worried that they are going to try to replicate it, and I just don't think it'll be the same.
Okay. Yeah. Lenny, what about you? What are your thoughts on it?
Um, I mean, he's a really, really good actor, but then again, so is Jared Leto, and we saw how that turned out.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
don't even get me started on that.
Yeah.
It's honestly, I think it's at the stage of the actor and how good they are, and just like more to do with
The
the
writing.
director and like, and how they can, if they can actually like make it a good movie without the studio butting in and
Mm.
Oh yeah.
thinking all these ideas, like I don't know, for probably what AMA, but like toy branding stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah.
You know, like they, you know, if, well, they, it's a good sign that they're not putting it in the cinematic universe because that means they don't have to
Yeah, that
come up
is
with
true.
anything.
Yeah.
But stuff like that, you know, like if the, I think it's more less than the casting, more of like, yeah, if a writer and all that, they can get their way and sort of if they want to
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, that definitely does play a
that
pretty big
generation.
part.
Yeah. Well, for me, I think, Joaquin Phoenix, like, I'm kind of mixed, but I do have, like, a feeling, like,
Mm.
I am having hopes that he will be a good Joker. I mean, I've seen his roles in Gladiator, and like, and from after seeing that, that film, I think that's the only Joaquin Phoenix role movies I've seen, just to be honest out of here. I think there could be
Have
more.
you seen Her? I think that's what it's called.
Oh, yes, I have.
That was a pretty good movie.
Oh yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I remember now. He was in it. Yeah. Well, after seeing those two films, I feel like I have a bit of a confidence that saying he could be a good actor, in you know, in the Joker. But I do have to agree with Lenny to an
Mm.
extent. Like, it could ruin it from merchandising and all that crap. And like he said,
Mm.
like Jared Leto, him being like he's a good actor, but seeing him as the Joker in the Suicide Squad, it kind of,
No,
yeah,
I immediately from the start I did not like it. I even the way his costume, and I know that's not his fault or anything, but I knew that from the way that they had set him up, I knew it wasn't going to be a good Joker. It just did not fit at all.
yeah,
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 And
it
like,
was
don't get me
very
wrong.
modern, very gangster, you know.
Yeah,
yeah,
but it's not even like it's not even like modern gangster. He looks like someone who imagines, oh, what does some really big tough guy from, some kind of crazed walk of life, who's an absolute maniac gangster look like? It doesn't actually seem like what he'd practically dress as,
yeah,
if that makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah,
I see. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of agree with you on that one. Like, the costume to me, it's like it's trying to appeal too much towards the saying, "Oh, hey guys, look, he's got an undercut, he's got tattoos, he's kind of hip,
Mm.
he's trying to cool." It's like it's kind of pushing it. It's like it's too forced.
Yeah, no, easily. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, especially like I think real or some shit, and I was like, really?
yeah.
Like, come on, that's yeah.
Like even the soundtrack of
Uh,
the film as well. Like it was so forced because they try to like get big names in it. Just because you have big names doesn't mean it's gonna be a
yeah.
good film. Like Will Smith, he did a good job on
Mm.
as Deadshot, including Harley, like even
No, yeah,
the actress for Harley Quinn and all that. Yeah,
yeah,
like tops to
yeah. I
them.
can't remember her name. She's the Australian actress.
Yeah, she was in Wolf of Wall Street,
Yeah,
and yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, moving on from the Joaquin Phoenix Joker topic. As of recent, there was some information coming out about Red Dead Redemption 2 about hunting, fishing, and
Oh
wildlife.
yeah.
And Red Dead Redemption 2 has you know been the most like the upcoming franchise. Oh shit.
From
Uh,
Rockstar at
yeah,
least.
yeah, for
yeah,
Rockstar at least. And to me, I'm kind of excited about it. What are your thoughts on it?
absolutely, absolutely.
Oh yeah. How do I say it? I'm very excited, but also I'm really really concerned about a lot of different aspects that I've seen,
Why is that?
especially with like the online stuff.
Hmm.
Especially after what happened with GTA 5,
Oh
where they
god.
gave you not that much content, but kept pushing you to pay for digital currency and all that.
Yeah.
But that's what's it called? That's not Rockstar. That's Take Two Interactive or whatever that Rockstar's underneath.
Parent company.
Yeah, exactly, the parent company, which is making shit really difficult and bad.
Yeah.
It's I'm really worried, especially after they said that people weren't paying enough money or whatever in their games. And that's not Rockstar, that's Take Two. But
Yeah.
oh god, like some of the stuff I saw, it just has me worried.
Yeah. For me, I'm kind of excited for the single player, for the story. Like,
Mm.
I get to feel immersed again from back in the Wild West, except in better graphics HD. I do have to
Mm.
agree with you on the online content, but I won't be playing online as much as I would be playing the single player because I would be too
Oh
busy
yeah,
hunting,
obviously.
trying to hunt some bears, wolf them out,
Mm.
so skin them out. My bad. And yeah, but like I feel like the only concern about Red Dead 2, and that's like
Mm.
a pretty odd one, but it's just like I feel like it's too much, like it's too ambitious. Like I feel like it could get delayed. Like the amount of
Yeah, I
content,
definitely agree
like
with you.
the amount of content that's being in from like hunting, fishing, wildlife, and and the graphics, and from what I've seen from the trailers.
Yeah, not even just that, but also they're almost like too realistic at certain points, and I'm like, I don't want this to get too realistic because at the end of the day, I still want it to be a fun game where I mess around as a cowboy, you know?
True. Plus,
Like,
if it's too realistic, it could push the hardware to the point where like systems could crash. I mean, we've seen a few games that has done that before,
mm.
but like yeah,
Oh yeah, there's been a few specifics, yeah.
yeah, like that's my only concern from it. What about you, Lenny? We haven't heard about like from you about Rockstar,
Yeah.
about Red Dead Redemption 2. What are your thoughts on it, and what are your concerns?
Well, I don't really have many concerns, to be honest. I think that Rockstar knows what they're doing and they're very experienced. They've got the AAA backing, they've got lots of money. I think that they're not they're not really going to crash any systems. I'm going to have to disagree with you there. I
Hmm.
think that if anything, um, they'd probably push the systems a little bit, but I don't think that they're going to crash anything. They're going to break anything. I think
Mm-hmm.
from what I've seen in the early builds and stuff like that, it's doing pretty good, like frame rate wise and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And as with like all the content that you were mentioning before, there's the previous Red Dead was also very content heavy, and I think that was delayed a few times. I'm not 100% on that,
Yeah,
but
it
No, well,
yeah,
was.
the
that
main
came out
one,
pretty
the main
good.
one
Yeah,
was either 4 or 5, and that was because how do I say it? It was very content heavy, but also pretty major bug from memory.
Yeah. Um.
Yeah, I think it was if you
Yeah, I
hopped
think it
in a
was.
car, something like that, you fell through the floor,
Yeah.
and you just keep falling.
Yeah, I think it was. It was that. Yeah.
Yeah, and considering the fact that so many missions around you hopping in a car,
Yeah. True.
pretty much everything.
But like, I do agree with you in the content heavy wise. I mean, going to Mexico, like, I think that would be something that was a bit too much. But then, along with like some missing content that could have been. And I think like, because whenever I play Red Dead 1, from time to time, I feel like it's
Mm.
a bit empty, at times. At
Yeah,
times.
I know what you mean. 'Cause,
Yeah.
well, there's only a few buildings that you can actually enter, but that's the thing with Red Dead 2. Apparently, from what I've heard, you can enter every single building or whatever. Everything's actually like a proper like enterable or viewable thing,
Oh,
if that
okay.
makes sense. Like there's interactivity.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of new games, um, Kojima further displayed some gameplay, no, some cutscenes of Death Stranding. What do
And it only made us more confused on what the
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I mean, there's a previous voice actor for Ocelot, Revolver Ocelot, and that kind of hyped me up. But what I
Mm.
want to discuss is your opinion, like what are your thoughts and concerns about it. For me, my concern is that it could get delayed, and at this point, it might get delayed because of
Mm.
yeah,
like no, like
probably gonna get.
knowing Metal Gear Solid 5, I felt like
Mm.
if the reason, like, from what I think, this is what I think. I'm not sure if it's 100% correct, but like the reason why Kojima or Konami had to release Ground Zeroes is to add more funding towards, or at least make revenue for Konami based about the Metal Gear. I mean, think about
Oh
it.
yeah, big time.
When did Metal Gear Solid 4 come out exactly? Hold up. MGS4 came out like
20, around 2010, I think.
it's like 2008. Yeah, 2008. From then on, you had like
Yeah.
7 years, like 6 years of creating an engine that pushes boundaries, and then 7 years of nothing. No content has come out. Konami wants something. It's
Yeah.
understandable, but that's my concern. Like I feel like because this is being backed by Sony, but being made by the Kojima Productions, I feel like it will get delayed. I don't know how long, but that's my only concern.
For me, it's not even just like delays. It's that we still don't really know what the hell it's about or what it's going on.
True.
Like, if that makes sense, we've only seen bits and pieces, and each bit of content that they reveal, if anything, it just makes stuff more confusing. Like, if you know what I mean, because
It's
we've
just-
seen so many different trailers, but they each show such different weird stuff.
Yeah, it's just Norman Reedus walking, taking a bloody hike.
Yeah, but then in this one, there's like some weird ass like spectral, well, not spectral, some like monster thing,
Yeah.
and that wasn't in any of the other ones.
Mhm.
So, or the one where they show that like the baby's inside of the guy's
Oh,
like
yeah.
stomach or some shit.
Yeah. What about you, Lenny?
It's really weird.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of at this point like a marketing ploy to sort of weird people out enough that they're interested enough to pay the full price, go pick it up, and play
Yeah.
it themselves.
Yeah.
So if anything, it's probably genius marketing.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I mean,
I have
yeah.
enough confidence in it that I sort of think that, like, I don't know, like, not that anything he makes will just instantly be amazing and gold.
Yeah, of
Yeah, of
course.
course not.
But that
The marketing's a
I
genius.
have enough confidence in him to be excited enough for the game. And I think that I don't really need to watch the trailers. I could probably just pick it up for myself.
Yeah, I kind of
Quality.
agree with you on that
Yeah,
one.
you're not wrong.
The marketing is like a really genius way to do it. Like, to at least to stay relevant. I mean, look at Kingdom Hearts 3, that has been, been delayed for so long. And yet,
Yeah.
as soon as Square Enix was like, hey, we just might as well give people, a bit of a teaspoon of what's to come. That was 2013. And yet, 5 years later, they've given us a few previews.
Yeah, still nothing.
Still nothing, but then only a release date, which I'm really happy that it's not delayed this time, next year. They're still giving us nothing, but just only like, what's to come. There's no plot. There's only like, just a few previews. But yeah, that's kind of a genius idea. It's really genius.
But that's becoming really common now. Like Bethesda's been doing that in a lot of cases.
Really?
They haven't shown off a lot of stuff. Like the new Elder Scrolls game that's coming out, even though we know that's not coming out for still a little while,
Yeah.
they've showed barely anything, and I think they only just recently possibly leaked the name because of a trademark thing that was filed.
What was the name?
But even then, I think it was it was something to do with like Redfall or something.
Redfall?
I'll take a quick look.
Redfall was it? But yeah, like I can't really see much games doing that on for some reason. Like I don't really see too many games doing that. Well, little sneak peek of the game. I didn't really realize that Bethesda did it. I mean, I watched the E3 stream for Bethesda and I think I came in late. It was like they were discussing about Fallout 76. I think that was about it. Yeah.
Yeah, that happened after the reveal.
Yeah, it is Redfall, guys. I checked.
Okay. Redfall.
Yeah, there was a new trademark filed for it, along with some other stuff too.
Yeah, but I believe that would be like next gen. I don't believe it'll come out this year. I don't
No,
like.
I reckon it'll come out possibly this gen. I think we're not expecting another console for a while.
Like how long do you think is a while?
Sony's actually been in talks
I-
for like next year.
Sony.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been talking about like they might be working on a new console that might be coming out late next year, early the year after.
I mean, how do I say this? I don't think that that's a particularly good move, considering I don't think the consoles, or both consoles for this gen, have really had a big enough library yet, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially like actually memorable and fun games. Like I remember on launch there was nothing, dead in the water for both. Everything was just kind of garbage.
What are you on about? Knack 2. Bloody Knack 2, man.
Knack 2, baby.
Knack 2, baby. Yeah, but yeah, I kind of see it. Like it feels empty, but like I feel like this is very small compared to what PlayStation had, or at least what Xbox as well has. Like if you look, I think the biggest library to like from my head would be PlayStation 2. Like you would not believe the amount of games that are on the PlayStation 2. You had so many obscure games that came out in the West, like too many. And then you got here, it's really empty. I feel like the only area you can get like a huge game library would be the PC market in Steam, because I feel like it's too many. It's first of all, it's easy for indie game developers to publish the games out, and second of all,
No, not anymore though. After all the greenlight issues and all that, where they cancelled that and then made an even worse program.
yeah, but still, it's more easier. in my opinion. But yeah, like
Mm,
it's like I do agree with you, Jai. I don't believe that you know Sony or Xbox would be coming like at least be developing a console anytime soon because the game library is too
yeah.
empty. But I
I
do.
think I think when they say new console, they probably mean something along the lines of what Microsoft did with the Xbox One X or whatever,
And
True,
that was a
Scorpio, or
PS.
whatever they called it.
true. But for me, I feel like they probably announced it by 2020. Like that's what I think.
Mm,
They probably announced it by 2020, but it wouldn't come out till like 2021 or 2022 because the library's still
yeah.
empty. There's yet to be more for
Mm,
both console
That
systems.
doesn't. I mean, to executives sitting around the table, that doesn't. They couldn't give a single shit.
yeah,
They
pretty
would
much.
True.
just,
The
they
bastards
just,
in
they want
suits.
money.
True. They obviously like
Yeah,
who doesn't want
down with
money?
the capitalists.
Well, I mean, have
Oh
you
my
guys
God,
heard
Lenny.
transition to another? Have you guys heard about the Nintendo Online issue that's been happening?
No, I haven't. Could you
No, I haven't.
discuss it? Like,
Basically, with the Nintendo Switch and all that, Nintendo have followed in the footsteps of Sony and Microsoft, and now you have to pay for online. And basically, the only thing that they're actually adding, and this thing that shits me about it, is that they've marketed it like they're giving you all this amazing stuff. Like, oh, you can play with your friends online and do all this. It's like, well, I could already do that before, but now you're making me pay money to do that.
yeah,
Yeah, I did
And
hear
then,
about that actually.
yeah,
Now that you've mentioned.
yeah, it's, what's it called? It's been a pretty big issue. They said that apparently, if you stop paying for the Nintendo Online, any of your cloud saves immediately gone. Like the
really?
second that you're not paying.
That's
Yeah,
bad.
completely destroyed.
That's
Yeah, like at least Sony and Microsoft give you like a full month or something before they actually get rid of it.
they do.
They give you a fair bit of warning.
They gave you a warning,
Like,
actually two warnings.
mm,
One for, like 4 weeks before, and two weeks before the
yeah,
expiry date.
exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a really crappy move on Nintendo's part, from what I think of.
I mean, how do I say it? Yeah, you're not wrong. It's a crappy move, but how do I say it? Like, Microsoft and Sony are doing it for a decent while now. Sony and Microsoft, but
But like,
they're gonna keep doing it. They want to milk out as much money of people as they can, and Nintendo. How do I say it? They want to compete, if that makes sense.
yeah, but like, I feel like Microsoft has been the lead. Well, been at least been
Oh,
ahead in this
yeah,
game.
big time.
Like,
And it's funny because sorry to interrupt you there, but
it's
if you
okay.
guys know about it, for so long everyone was like, oh, I don't mind paying to play online because it helps run the servers and all this other stuff. It actually doesn't. It does nothing.
Yeah,
They just use it for funding and other crap like that.
yeah.
There's no reason that we should have to actually pay.
Hmm.
Especially when you think about it, how much money are they already getting from us? Especially now that consoles, especially when they first released, are now getting upwards of $1,000 or so,
Yeah,
which is crazy
Yeah.
to think about it. That now even like an iPhone or whatever is around the same price, if not more.
yeah,
That if we're paying already that much and we're still consistently buying games and that adding to the library, they already earn enough money from us. They don't need like to have a subscription for online. It just doesn't make sense.
yeah.
Sony did it for like what's it called? They had it for free, and the only reason why they added it was to compete with Microsoft. But at least the one thing I'll give Sony is that it's like they give you a lot more what Microsoft actually give you for the online, like
Yeah.
the PS Plus.
Yeah.
Like I actually had PS Plus before you needed it to play online because it was just it gave you a bunch of free games, gave you all this other cool stuff, and a lot of people would like, oh, why? It's like, well, hey, might as well. It gets me free games every month.
Yeah.
But Microsoft, they dick you over so much. Like the deals for gold that they have are like nothing. It's not worth it. Not only that, as I discovered playing with Lenny a little while back, the second that you don't have your gold subscription anymore, you can't play any of your free games.
Yes, that's a really concerning thing. That's a really
Yeah.
unfair thing on Microsoft's hand, but I feel like yeah, like you said,
Oh, it's unfair completely because if you think about it, like how long have you paid for a subscription, Lenny?
Years.
Yeah, exactly. So both you and I would have been paying these subscriptions for years, and they're not cheap either. In total, all the free games we've been given definitely do not equal up to the amount we've been paying.
No,
Especially when they keep putting on games no one wants,
yeah.
and that they're just complete garbage.
yes. For me, like the Microsoft thing, I think like I agree with you on that one. However, I think it's beneficial for the company and company only because if you think about it, if you looked at the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, the PlayStation 3 had more console, more like they had more iterations of the console, like about 3 times. How much has Microsoft
Mm.
had made? Only twice, and that's because the online services were pretty much like backing it up. Whereas compared to Sony, they needed something to keep the revenue up. It can't be consoles. They have to keep, it couldn't be just that one same console. It had to be, oh, have a slim or have a slimmer version of the slim.
But you know why they did that, right? Because, well, for one thing, I actually think that it was a pretty good strategy because a lot of people wanted a smaller console. I actually have the PS4 Slim,
Oh yeah.
with the one terabyte or whatever of data.
Yeah.
I definitely think it was a worthwhile purchase, especially since I think it's actually cheaper than what the standard one was at the time or something.
Yeah,
now,
at the time, yeah, but
because
compared
it
to
has less ports and stuff.
yeah.
But like, what's the main thing that is why Microsoft was earning more money was primarily because their consoles broke more often.
Yeah,
You
true.
had to buy another console.
Yeah, I see.
Like, I think the original white Xbox had like a 70 or something percent chance of red ringing.
Well, because they want
Don't what's it called? Count
Yeah.
me on that. I will actually check the stats, but
Yeah.
it was really bad.
Yeah, because like how to say this, Microsoft tried to push like their new console before Sony did, and plus they did it well, but the only issue was the hardware. They didn't have, like from what I've seen in a few documentaries and a few video essays, they didn't have a chance to at least test it out properly. Compared to Sony, I mean, although despite the ridiculous price tag of the original console, it was however more flawed compared to the first PS3 iteration, which I still like. I had at that time, with the Spider-Man 3 logo and all that crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, my original PS3 did actually break on me, but
really.
it broke after a really long time of use, and it was like the orange light of doom or whatever they call it. And how do I say it? There's apparently a way to fix that, so I'm gonna see if I can actually fix it up because that original version of the PS3 is worth a fair bit because it could also play like PS2 games.
Yeah, it can play PS2 and PS1 games because you could do backwards
Yeah.
compatibility with that one.
So I'm gonna try and fix it up, but like from what I've seen, those white Xboxes.
Yeah,
And if you guys heard about like the Xbox coffins or whatever,
yeah.
where Microsoft claimed that they'd fix them, and they'd send you out like this cardboard box where you'd put your Xbox in and then send it back. There's a donkey video that explains a shit ton of it from memory, but it just did nothing. They never fixed it. They'd always just be complete garbage.
Yeah.
And I've actually got a statistic on this now. According to a Game Informer survey,
Yeah.
54.2% failure.
Jesus, man. Jesus, dude.
Which is, yeah, not as big as what I was saying, but still a massive amount.
That's a huge amount. That is a huge amount.
Yeah,
Dramatic.
it's insane.
Yeah. Like, oh my god. Like that further proves why the Xbox is like how much they wanted to push it, you know? They pushed it to the point where like they never had time to test it and all that crap,
Yeah, well, if you notice, what happened afterwards was they released the black Xbox 360,
Yeah.
which is the one I got, and that thing was like the failure rates really I don't think they fail that much at all.
They didn't.
Mine's still going strong.
Yeah.
I still play it now.
Same.
Yeah.
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 But there's been a history of Xbox consoles having issues. Like I know my friend's original Xbox, which I've got an original Xbox, but the second generation of it. His tray, from memory, his disc tray actually like jammed and then like pushed the disc into the motherboard, like
Oof.
completely destroying it or something.
Oof.
Not the motherboard, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Like the main components. Something happened to where it jammed badly enough that it damaged the internals.
I feel like Xbox, yeah, they've been pushing so hard to beat Sony and Nintendo to the point where like they don't think about the hardware. I think they just mostly focus about sales, and I mean,
Well, yeah, that's
it's prevalent within the first Xbox. I mean, they were successful in the West, but then yet again they were outsold by the PlayStation 2, which outsold them a huge significant amount. I think it was hold up, PS2 sales, I think it's 158 million units, and it was ridiculous. I mean, if you compared the West, if you compared the Xbox sales from the West to East, it was The East, like Japan, they didn't like it. Like the Eastern countries, they never liked it. They
No,
prefer.
no, no, they pretty market in Japan.
Yeah,
I've been.
it was poor marketing, and you know the Xbox controller. Yeah, that was one. Obviously, that was
Yeah.
the biggest complaints. The original one.
Oh yeah, the original Xbox, like
Yes.
that controller from
Yeah.
when it was originally made.
Yep.
My cousins had that controller. I had the new, like what's it called, the newer controllers that look more like the 360 controllers.
Yeah.
But that original one, oh my god, I remember playing with it. It was the worst thing I've ever used. It was so clunky,
Yeah.
and it was. I actually had a nicer time with a Nintendo 64 controller.
Yeah. Well, the Nintendo 64 controller is really horrible design, in my opinion. It was far bloody horrible, man. It was bloody horrible, in my opinion. Like,
Yeah, the keypad directions and the buttons and the thumbstick being placed like that was just not a good idea.
it wasn't. It wasn't. But do you know? Here's a fact. Yeah, you know the second release of the original Xbox controller.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know that was actually designed just for the Japanese market, right?
yeah,
Ori-
from what I've been told.
Originally, and then they were like, "Oh, it's actually a pretty good, comfortable. It's a more comfortable version than the previous one. I might as well package it in with the with the new Xboxes, you know."
Yeah, well, I think the actual main reason they shrunk the size of the controller down, and it's gonna sound dumb, but apparently the marketing executives thought, oh, Japanese people and Asians, they're so much tinier. They have smaller hands. They can't actually fit their hands on the controller.
It's not
It's
that.
like, well, okay.
It's a more comfortable
It's not that.
controller.
It was a terrible design. The original
Yeah.
one. It was
Yeah.
horrible.
Props to the Japanese and the Asian market for that one. I mean, thank you. You've changed
Yeah.
the Xbox controller significantly. I mean, you wouldn't have the Xbox One's comfortable plastic controller, or even the Elite, for God's sakes.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, moving on from consoles.
Oh, well, what about controllers though? Just to add to a final thing,
Yeah, sure.
Lenny was talking about it to me yesterday. Well, the Xbox One controllers haven't exactly been good durability wise.
Really?
No,
Yeah, they.
I'll put it this way. I had my Xbox 360 controller since like launch,
Yep.
until like a year ago when it broke finally.
Mm,
And then, but with the Xbox One controllers, I've gone through 3.
mm.
So since it launched, so
Mhm.
there's a clear difference there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what's it called? I think it's a quality control issue primarily, but it's been atrocious.
Yeah.
Like,
And they don't
I
do
think-
anything when you break it either.
no, they don't.
They
And
just-
the thing is that they're so expensive to replace.
Yeah, they are. They really are.
Yeah, it's really bad. Like, I
Yes.
think that on average the price is between like 80 and 90 Australian dollars.
Whoa.
So probably like 60 USD or something.
Yeah. Okay. Adding on to the topic of controllers, I was gonna talk
Mm.
about Cyberpunk 2077, but from the looks of it, we don't
Yeah.
have time. We have like about 2 minutes left. I was gonna say, what would be the most comfortable, or at least your favorite looking controller, in general, from like throughout the games, throughout history? Like, what would be the comfortable one for you?
For me, I'd PS4 controller / PS3 controller,
Really?
and well, how do I say it? Like, if you get it, one of the good ones, they've got these really nice texture grips on them, and they actually are pretty comfortable in the hand.
Yeah.
And because I think as well in a lot of the Xbox like types, I don't like how large the triggers are.
Yeah.
It kind of delays your rhythm, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I see a point. What about you, Lenny? What is
Yeah.
your favorite, or at least your favorite controller, and why?
I have to completely disagree with Joe. I think the PS4 controllers are shit. And the first time I laid my hands on it, I was like, I hate this so much.
Okay.
Especially the touchpad. Like, who came up with
Oh,
that idea?
no, don't give
The
me. I know,
touchpad was horrible, in my opinion. It's like a
the
useless.
primary. I think I meant more the PS3 controllers than I meant PS4. Those for me were probably really good.
Even that, I really don't like that controller. It just doesn't feel good.
But what is your favorite controller? That's what I'm
Mhm.
asking, though.
My favorite, probably the Xbox One. Honestly, I'm yet to try the what's it called, the Pro controller.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
That, like,
yeah, my
$200
friend's got one of
controller.
those.
Yeah.
What's it
But
called?
I've heard
Yeah,
it's
$200.
really good,
It's
but
good.
not worth that
yeah.
much money.
No, definitely not worth that much. They still kind of have the durability problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do.
Like he dropped his from like not even like that high. Like he was literally standing up from the couch and it slipped out of his hands.
Jesus.
And like now the one of the back triggers or bumpers is like completely shit itself.
Jesus. Oh my god. Well, for me, one of my favorite controllers, and it's like to me it's a very good one. It was the GameCube controller, and there's a reason why. Like,
Hmm.
so the GameCube controller to me, it was it's really friendly. Like in the approach, first of all, it's comfortable. Like it had a weird boomerang sign, like design to it. A weird looking. It's not
Yeah.
boomerang-ish, but the handles just
Yes.
the handles were small. But despite that, I felt like it was perfect. The joysticks were on point. They still had the N64 joystick, but you can only see it on the right corner if you could see. Like,
Yeah.
and then I felt like the buttons on the right side, the the size specifically tells you what button is which instantly without telling you, oh, this it doesn't look the same. It just tells you what's the most important one and what's the less significant one. You know what I mean? Like it easily coordinates you in a blink of an eye, and plus the use of colors and all that. And also, as I said before, it's further reinforcing it. It's comfortable. I like it.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
The only issue I have with it is that it's wired. There is wireless ones, but the wireless ones just look crap. It just
I mean, what's it called? I'm not too bothered by wired controllers because especially if you get ones that have a decent amount of like actual cord, it's not that noticeable. In particular, because I don't like to be too far away from the TV anyway when I'm playing.
fair enough.
And like now that we all know your eyes won't actually turn square,
Yeah.
that there's no need to be afraid.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, looks like we're on time. Well, yeah, it was nice. It was nice discussing about these topics with you guys. And if you guys wanna want to hear more of our podcast, subscribe to Pepsi Main on my channel. Well, it'll be there for a while until we decide if we can make a group channel or not. And yeah, like and subscribe if you want more. And, yeah, see you guys.